In this video, I want to take a few minutes to talk about the importance of APA formatting. When you write a document that is academic in nature or research-based in nature, having the proper formatting is very important. And in many courses that you might take at a collegiate level, having the wrong formatting might be worth as many points off on a paper as poor content or spelling errors or grammatical errors. So in 5 minutes, I want to give you 7 or 8 things that you can do quickly to check your paper to make sure that the APA formatting is correct. There's a lot of nuance to APA and MLA in Chicago style, but we're going to talk about APA in this video, and I'm going to give you simple things that you can check for in your paper to make sure that you are 80% in compliance with APA formatting. APA formatting is currently in 7th edition, but very often you'll find that professors or others might want you to use 6th edition. Typically, those are pretty close for the most part, and the things I'm going to cover here will basically be adhering to both of those standards. So, number one, things that I encounter often from students that are problematic in an APA paper is they don't have the proper cover page. And so a properly formatted APA paper has a cover page similar to what you see on the screen here and generally contains this information. And everything I'm going to tell you, you can go and do a quick search on Google or other search engine to find this information, but just knowing what you're looking at can make a world of difference. So number one is this should not be a header at the beginning of the document. It should not be formatted in any fancy way. What you see on the screen is very close to what you should be doing in an APA formatted paper. Number two, you'll notice that the font here is 12-point Times New Roman font. You can use other fonts. Georgia is another font that would be acceptable in 12-point font. Both of those fonts are called serif fonts. And then you can use, it is acceptable to use Calibri or Arial 11-point. Those are sans serif fonts. The the problem is if you're dealing with someone old school, like me, they might prefer that you use 12-point Times New Roman. So that is really the default font. And if you can use it, you should use that font. So stick to 12-point Times New Roman, and you cannot get in trouble for using that. Your paper should have a 1-inch margin. So you're looking for 1-inch margins all the way around your paper. So that's an easy one. So between the font and the margin, those are easy things that you can do. I will say this though, very often Microsoft Word has templates, and when you use the default template, it defaults to other fonts. Microsoft Office 2024 uses a font called Aptos as its default font, and 2021 and prior versions used Calibri as a default font. So sometimes they will sneak into your paper. You've got to really be diligent and make sure that you're checking the whole paper to make sure that you've got 12-point Times New Roman font. So the font is critically important. The margins are critically important. The cover page is important. Everything I've just shown you is super easy to do in your paper. Now, another easy thing that you can do from a formatting standpoint is spacing. You'll notice here everything is double spaced in my mock-up of a paper. So everything here is double spaced. So you want to use double spacing throughout your paper, everywhere in your paper, including in the references area, which we'll get to in just a minute. Another critical thing that you should be looking for in research papers, and you see the formatting here is pretty consistent throughout the paper, but one of the things I wanted to highlight here is the use of a citation. Now, if you have a requirement to have citations in your paper, what that means is you are citing the source. This is a citation. You're citing the source where you're referring to it. So at this point in this paper, I'm referring to this source document of Smith 2021. In APA format, the proper formatting here within in-text citation is open parentheses, last name, comma, year, close parentheses. That's not 100% of the time the correct format, but a majority of the time, that is the correct format. Again, for more nuance, you can do a search at Purdue's online writing lab, or you can go to the American Psychological Association. Those are probably the two predominant websites where you can look up the APA format. But you must be really good at citations, and doing those incorrectly is probably the number one thing that happens in papers. Not citing it is plagiarizing, and citing it incorrectly is annoying to the trained eye if you're misplacing the citation or it's not formatted properly. So that's an important thing to look for. Now, citations are, of course, related to references, and references appear at the end of your paper. They start on a new page, and they are titled with references, or depending on exact format that you're using, it could be called works cited, but whatever the title, it starts on the last page, and then all of your sources are listed after that. There is a lot of nuance to exactly how the references should be formatted in an APA paper. For the purposes of this video, I'm just going to show you a few things. Number one, make sure it's double spaced. Often people do everything else in the paper double spaced, and then they leave the references single spaced. So this too should be double spaced. Secondly, there is specific formatting to how the paper, or to how the references should be formatted. So you really want to become well-versed in the proper formatting. Again, a simple web search will find those things for you. Will find those answers for you if you're confused about, let's say, a specific type of reference. They use something called a hanging indent in APA formatting. And what that means is it's the opposite of a normal indent. So in most paragraphs in a paper, the beginning of the paragraph is indented. In a hanging indent, it's the opposite. We are not indenting the first line and then indenting all subsequent lines that are related to that. So in an APA formatted paper, you're using the hanging indentation. So these are a couple of quick, easy things that you can look for in a paper to try to minimize the possibility of getting things wrong in your paper. There's a lot more nuance, but I've just given you in a few items where I see 80% of the issues in APA formatted papers. So again, remember, you want a title page, you want 12-point Times New Roman font, you want double spacing, you want 1-inch margins, you want to make sure that you're citing your work, and you want to cite it with the proper format. And then finally, your references should be formatted properly. I hope this video helps. It's brief. It's meant to be brief. You can research all these things that I've talked about here to get deeper details on these. But if you adhere to these things, you will solve the majority of problems that pop up in a academic or research-based paper. Thanks for watching. Take care.